Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back, a new video. And please don't forget subscribing, okay? In this occasion, I want to talk about for what reason there are not many, and if you pay attention or whatever, you will notice there are not many Latins in Canada as a country, with the exception of Toronto maybe, but the rest of the cities, compared to other countries, very distant countries like India or like what else? Middle Eastern countries, China, especially China, many Asian, Cantonese countries, South Asian countries, not only Cantonese, Asian countries. Like we are very minimal. We are very minimal, And maybe some people wonder why it's like this, being so near of Canada, actually being in the same continent. I don't pretend to make this video just because I don't know, I want to create a rivalry, because I want, to Canada stop receiving people of certain country to start receiving or opening doors for Latins, for Latinos. Not at all. Of course, no. This is just for I don't know, people that might be wondering the same thing, because when I moved to Canada, I wondered the same. I was like, why is the reason? What makes them choose or give priority tons of other countries? Like I'm not talking about a specific ethnicity, a specific country, whatever, and here it's just for expressing my point of view. Here I'm gonna bring to the table my point of view, and that's it, without of course, especially without pretending to, I don't know, judge. I'm not doing this pretending to judge Canadians, or creating hate or criticizing them. I think the people there are all pretty much nice, good heart people. Me, for example, I'm Mexican, and as Mexican I kind of understand, for example, the point when they are pissed because the immigrants are displacing them of many job offers, the job markets. That's something that I hear recently, I would say in the last 6 months, out of almost 3 years that I've been living here. I hear and I start paying attention to that pretty much like 6 months ago. I didn't knew, I was not aware, and I kind of feel you guys, because as Mexican in my country, many Mexicans do give also the preference. Well, I'm not gonna. No, that's a very bad mantra. Not many. No, seriously, that's a very bad mantra. The more you repeat something and you decrete it, you attract it. Okay, so no, talking seriously, some people do give preference to the foreign. So I kind of feel you, and I quite feel your feelings towards you start opposing to immigration and whatever, right? So now that everything is clear, I'm gonna tell you the reasons. I think low key, Canada, out of the cliche or the bad fame some Latin countries have about being criminals, and stuff that Donald Trump used to say and decreed about Latinos. For him, when Donald Trump and Americans from the United States, Caucasic Americans from the United States, say when they say Mexicans are criminals, or they refer to Mexicans, especially the type of like I say, Caucasic white Americans, also kind of ignorant Americans, they consider Mexicans or Latins, when they say Mexicans, they refer pretty much, or most of the times, to all the Latinos, all the Latins in the countries that are after Mexico. So of course this, I don't think it has that much to do. I think it's pretty much a thing of jealousy, low key, let's be real, let's be honest. I mean, Canada is a first world country, but the weather is horrible. The winters last 6 months, they are super long. So I really think they feel like, especially because the Latin countries is where they go for their retirements. They make their living there after retirement, and also on winter, especially on the roughest winters, on the roughest parts, or months of the winters, which is like normally between January and March. So they refugee in our countries, Yeah, I mean, I know that, guys, and now because of me, everybody knows it, and everybody is aware of it. Let's not lie each other. Let's be real. So of course I find it, especially I find it a little bit unfair, because I think, okay, you don't go and do your retirements or your refugee from the winters in India, or like I mean, sorry guys, I just an example, because you're the minority here, or in China, or in Middle Eastern countries, South Asian countries in general, like Bangladesh. No, they do their winter escapade to Latin countries. So I feel they feel kind of embarrassed of like letting many of the Latin people come to live in Canada and realize. Sorry for the change of lighting. I didn't have time that day of finishing that video. The lighting and the location, okay? I'm really sorry. So like I was telling you, I think Canadians at the bottom are embarrassed of, like the personality of their country, with Latinos, because we are very different. Like we do like of course, with people that we know, for example, me when I was like more little, younger, I used to, hang out with strangers and with many people that I just met, and have fun with them and with a lot of strangers. But nowadays I'm more selective because, like I told you, for the ones that follow me in Telegram, I don't share my Telegram with my YouTube and Instagram followers, of course, for obvious reasons. But in my Telegram, I share a little history, and it's also not linked. In case you want to look for it, it's not linked. I want to keep it. I want to keep things a little bit separate. But yeah, I tell the story that I was, defrauded, big scammed, a big time video. I feel that like we are different in personality. I feel they are more introvert, they are more reserved, serious. And this country, honestly, is like, especially when it's, with the change of seasons. I've been living in Montreal, like I said, and only in the city, which is one of the most active of the whole country, along with Toronto. And the people in this city, I don't know if you have noticed, but like, I mean, of course you have noticed, but I don't know if in all the Nordic countries it's like this. Canada is not considered a Nordic country because, I don't know, the culture or their traditions or the geolocalization. But it should be considered a Nordic country, talking about the weather. A Nordic country like, I don't know, Iceland, the Antarctic, uh, Norway. These are very polar weathers. So they have even a switch of personality. I noticed that very much. Like on winter, it's like the people, well, I mean, first of all, like, the wealthy people, they leave for weeks during winter. Some of them, they leave for even for a month or even 2 months, especially famous Canadians, yeah, big stars. Of course, obviously, even me, I would do it for sure. The people that, are rich people, uh, they are they leave for months during winter. And the rest of the people, they become more, serious, more introvert, or even well, those are major words, but like, yeah, more upset, like more down. I would say that's the right word, more down. Like their mood is more down. So for people that come from tropical weathers or warmer weathers, like I guess Africans, for example, the Maghreb people, which are this mix of Middle Easterns with Egyptians and even Middle Easterns, Arabs, Indians, and all the South Africans, and also Latins. Anyway, in recent words, the people that come from warmer or hot weathers, we notice that change of personality. Yeah, by the way, yeah, just in case Canadians don't be aware of this, we notice. I notice. It makes sense. I don't judge you. I would probably do the same. And people from other countries, if they have this weather, they will be the same. But yeah, they have a switch of personality. They don't even want to go out that much in winter. Or they don't go out at all. They just go work or activities in the gym. Freelancing, like me, and I don't know, hang out or try to hang out with their, their relatives or their friends in winter. But it's different. Like I noticed also because when I was just new, I think my first summer, full summer, I spent it in a gym, and I think I joined this gym. Actually, I joined this gym. I've been in many, like how many? Like in six. I think that's it. But the once I joined one on just the beginning of the summer, it was end of spring, beginning of summer, and I could even, I mean, the people was very cheerful, they were very friendly, it's just like something switched. They have a switch in their mood, in their mind, in their behavior, at the point that maybe they even feel, maybe, I mean, I don't think I'm supposing, I really got the feeling that they obviously feel embarrassed of, that Latins are warm, no, especially Latins, because there are the people from hotter countries or tropical warmer countries, they of course they have the same personality the whole year, same as Latinos have the same personality the whole year because we have the same temperatures almost all the year. We always have a warm or hot temperature. You know, so yeah, I feel that low key they are quite embarrassed. Of, I mean, yeah, of their change of mood, their switch of personality, and they really have to. They are like almost like on a frenzy. They are they can. And if I were in their place, I wouldn't help. I wouldn't help. You know, not being excited or not making it obvious that you know that I'm super excited. It's like yeah, they are just cheerful. They're just super excited for those between 5 up to 6 months. If it's a hot year or if it's a warm year, consider a warm year, it can be up to 6 months of hot weather between hot and warm. Me as Latina, for me, temperatures between, I would say, 15 and even 22 or 25 are still fresh. Believe me or not, I would say between 18 and 24, between 18 and 24, I would say. For me, those temperatures are still fresh. For me, that's not hot. For me, hot is between 28 and 35. You know, for me between 28 and 35, that's really hot. That merits to put an AC or purchase it, turn it on, you know, and spending electricity and whatever in that. So yeah, I feel that is envy or a shame or embarrassment. So yeah, like I say, like I was telling you, I feel they feel more than envy or jealousy, or maybe it's too. That's very possible. At the end of the day, we are still humans, and those are very human feelings. You know, it's very natural feeling. You know, like jealousy, envy, all these emotions for something that you wish you could have in your country. And also, I don't know, this is something, this is a message for the people that are Latinos, for Latins, followers, you know, or curious people that I have here right now in the audience. Uh, we should really appreciate more our countries, appreciate more between each other, because, like I said, at least in Montreal, which is the biggest city of the second biggest city of the country, when sometimes when I coincidence with Latinos in places, you know, with another Latinos, we still stare at each other like, oh wow, look, there is a brother, you know, or oh wow, where are you from? Like it's not like the Latinos that see each other in the United States, where we are a majority. You know, in the United States we are the majority, I think. They see the coincidence and they see each other and it's like, oh whatever. It's like if you see them in your country, you know, it's like if you were in your country, I think. But here we are still a minority. I think we need to. Well, this message is for just for them, not for all everybody. But you're gonna hear my feelings too, anyways. But like we need to appreciate each other more and take care of each other more. And the same surprise we felt when we coincidence in a place where, let's say, there are like, I don't know, 50 people of different countries, and we are just I don't know, 3 or 4 Latinos among 50 different countries people with the same surprise or, you know, excitement or joy that when we see each other is the same support and protection we should have, you know, because we are not many. Sometimes we think we are many. Maybe in Toronto, you know, I just been there a couple times, but maybe just there we might be a majority, or we will never be a majority in this country. Mark my words. I mean, I don't pretend to be mean or pessimist, but we will never be a majority in this country. I'm very intuitive. I can feel it. I can see it. We are still, with the exception, assuming that we are many in Toronto, we are still a minority. Like, it's obvious that at this point, you know, like Canadians don't feel the same esteem or appreciation towards us, same as we feel for them, you know. Also, I mean, sorry, I don't mean to generalize or say the same, put everybody in the same basket. I don't know. I just feel like those are quite my feelings, you know. But also, I also feel that this is influenced by, you know, by the rest of the countries, you know, like there are many Indians and many people, you know, Chinese, you know, many Asians in general. I think the majority in this country are Asians. I could even dare to say that it's a 50% Canadians, 50% from the Asian continent. And the Asian continent is huge, super huge. It's, you know, first of all, I didn't even knew that Indians were Asians. Sorry, I was at some point of my life, I've been quite ignorant. I didn't know, you know. We already have a no, you know. We already have like I would say as Latinos, we already have like a bad position in the global map already. Oh, also, I want to make clear, this is a message for Latino. If you're not Latino, it's up to you to stay in this part of the video, in this track of the video, but it's something I want to take out, I want to express. Watching the actual migration situation towards Latinos, I really consider that we are in a very disadvantaged position. You know, we are, of course we are not, we shouldn't be in the worst place, because I mean, come on, we are another big portion. I think we are the 50% of the American continent, or more. I don't know, but in general, if we don't take care of each other, nobody will. Nobody will. And in the part where I'm saying, mark my words, and I'm saying, we ain't coming anymore. Like, this is it. Like I would say, Canada has reached their limit about Latinos, is because the rest of the countries that have more influence here in politics, they have decided, or they influence in a big percentage, they influence like how many, you know, Latinos Canada is going to be approving their visas, their, you know, work permits, citizenships, residence, you know. So that's not even in our hands anymore, you know. And looking at the United States situation is even worse. Oh my goodness. But also, I feel the situation of the United States, well, this part of the video is turning a little bit political, but I'm going to finish. I'm going to try to finish soon. It's because, like, we put the foot ourselves to fall, you know. I don't know, like, there was a majority of Chicanos, you know, of Mexican origin that were influenced by Trump, and before Trump, well, no, actually, it has only been by Trump, right? But they fall in the trap, you know. Now I'm very sure, actually, the polls prove it. Many people that vote for him and support him at the time, they're regretting right now. But anyways, this I don't want this to turn to political because that's not. So yeah, I'm not looking for this video. Politics is not my niche, but I since long time ago, either in my channel in Spanish, I have a YouTube channel in Spanish that I leave it a little bit abandoned because I'm putting more effort in this channel because I love English is my favorite language. I have always loved English language. I speak it since I was a teenager, almost since I was a kid. And sorry, back to the point. We really need to spread more the voice and we really need to support each other. Nobody else would do it because of course, as far as we are, like partying, hospitality people, partying people, friendly, warm, we cook amazing, we are very good in bed too. Even so, like the rest of the ethnicities or the rest of the countries, they're gonna see for their people in the first place, Seriously. And some nationalities or ethnicities, they are more protective. Like you have no idea, they are very protective. For example, when the ice raids started, I remember this was in when it started. I think it started in 2025, right? Yeah, this year is 2026. When they first started, I remember some months after they start with Latinos, they start chasing blacks too. I remember because I saw a very extreme video on Instagram, however, in a black's neighborhood, and the blacks literally, oh my God, they protect themselves and their neighbors like fucking like gorillas. It's just for describing an example of like like I don't know, like tigers, like they literally fight. They literally fight. They literally fought. They literally gave punches. They make a mess. And I think they were minority towards against the ICE cops, and they win. They win. They didn't allow. They took anybody. So yeah, that's it for this video. That's why we are a majority. Everybody has been wondering why. This is the explanation. We also don't take care of each other, of ourselves as much as, again, I'm gonna mention it, I hope you don't mind. Also, I admire this quality of you and I respect it. That's amazing. It's really wow, like wow. I wish we could be one day like you are, guys. We are not as protective as Indians. Like Indians, they really, I know this also because when I've been looking for, for renting a shared apartment with a roommate or maybe two, Indians are especially even more than Chinese, I think, and even more than other nationalities. Indians are the ones that always put in their, or well, not always obviously, but most of the times or many times they put Punjabi girl by preference or priority to Indian person. They always give a preference to their own people. And for me, that's something I never seen. That doesn't exist. Not even in my country, it doesn't exist. It's really awkward. Some other fucking eccentrics and like clowns. I'm just kidding. But like they even put like only vegetarian people, please, or people that don't eat pork. And I'm like, what? Like it's none of your business. You're gonna get paid anyways. What the fuck is wrong with? Not talking about the nationality, but like the food preference. Like I don't know. That's for me. That's really weird. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. And a message to the curious Latins that are here is that always keep in mind that we are like their, I don't know, we are like the aquatic park. We are their aquatic park garden, and they're relaxing and fun countries. And we are not any of their first preference countries, like talking about, we are not even in the top list of the countries they import, the nationalities that immigrate in mass in this country, That's it. Don't forget it. Keep it in mind, just for you to be more aware, And we try to impose a little bit of respect because, of course, economically, we are an ant and they are a giant. Economically, or just talking about development, we're still third world countries and there are giants, but we also need to see who they receive, Because also this is a little bit painful. But talking about nationalities, I have perceived the feeling they see us as these are major words, but just as never mind. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoy it. And I'm sorry if you're Canadian, I don't mean it, but I think people deserve an explanation. Many people might be wondering the same, Even myself, I'm like, subscribe.